Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation with the Council on Aging. Today, we are welcoming Christine Sinicola and David Hood from Care Patrol. And Christine will tell you more about that, but she is a senior living advisor. Should I get that correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. And we're so happy to have her. We've been working with Christine for quite a while, at least a year, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right. So I'll turn it over to you, Christine. Oh, I will just say quickly, just as a reminder, we are being filmed by Walpole Media Corporation. So if you don't want your image on the screen, you can go to those three little dots in the upper right hand of your screen and turn off video, and then you can just hear and pay attention, but not be seen. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Christine. Welcome.
Okay, I think I'll have Dave start, just as the owner of the agency, to kind of just explain a little bit of his background and how he got into this.
Sure, great.
Hi, I'm David Hood. I'm the owner of Care Patrol, which is a franchise business. I own the Southeastern Massachusetts territory. I am a certified senior advisor and certified dementia practitioner. Certified, let's see if I can get this right, certified Alzheimer's disease and dementia care trainer. I got into senior care almost 30 years ago, and I have run social Lifeline. I'm a distributor of Philips Lifeline. And I've had thousands and thousands of clients over the years and have done 5,000 or more home safety visits myself personally. So I got into Care Patrol. We are a senior safety referral agency. If anybody would like to talk with us, there's never a charge to the families for any of the information that we have to give to seniors and their caregivers. So feel free to reach out to us at any time about anything. We refer elder law, we refer in-home care, we refer accessibility companies, anything to do with senior care, we probably have a resource for you. So there you go. Christine's going to talk to you a little bit today about planning.
Yeah, and I think, thanks, Dave. And I think a lot of it is, many times when we get a call, folks have already talked to other agencies like a Council on Aging or an area access agency like HESCO. They could have put a lot of phone calls in, but we still get the same question almost every time. It's, where do we start, right? And when you're navigating the care continuum, I think that there's a lot of information out there, and how do we start? How do we put a plan in place? And I think, we're definitely getting phone calls now that are, more urgent because of COVID, where people need to act. Maybe a loved one is in the hospital or in a skilled nursing facility, and now they have to start putting plans in place for home care, or, look at options for an assisted living. And we always talk to people about, let's build a plan for now, and let's build a plan for later. And I think that, if you need home care right now, we're navigating that for you so that you can actually put some, systems in place for yourself or for your loved one. But then we're also, talking about, what if, there's additional falls and this no longer becomes an option. We can always take a look around at assisted living facilities. There's so many options out there. There's so many different names for it. It goes on and on and on. Let's kind of include that in part of our planning so that we can take a look at those options, whether it's nowadays doing a virtual tour, maybe an in-person tour where we accompany you. But I think the great thing about it is that you're going to have a say in what you want this to look like. And I think the sooner all of us, myself included, the sooner all of us kind of really take action and put some plans in place, and just take some baby steps now, the better we're going to feel about the choices that are made down the road. And I think, it does start with sort of your legal documents, I think is the first thing. That we're all home now a lot more, and, we're kind of cleaning our closets out and that type of thing. So let's clean some files out and let's locate our documents, legal documents, financial documents, power of attorney, healthcare proxy. Who do I name to help make decisions when, I no longer can? Or do I have a long-term care policy, a life insurance policy? If I'm a veteran, where's my discharge papers? There's lots of papers to just maybe put sort of to the front of the file cabinet, or to put into a folder on your computer, so that it's accessible for our family if and when they need it. So those are some of the things that we will talk with people about when we get the phone call. So where do we start? We start with the legal documents, and then next is the care. Do you need care now? Or are you just sort of planning and looking for if and when I need it down the road? So, when we talk about home care, and I'll let Dave jump in now, as part of his whole senior safety, he's been in that line of work for so long that, he always has really good suggestions for people of where to start. So maybe with your Lifeline.
Yeah, we find a lot of the time things happen unexpectedly, and then people have to act. And what we try to do is to make a plan so that you have an idea of what to do. I always tell people, nobody sits around the house saying, I can't wait for that day that I get one of those little buttons. But it's something to think about, for a very low fee monthly. You get a lot of coverage with a Lifeline device. Generally speaking, it's usually the caregivers, the children of the seniors that want it more than the senior themselves. But it's really a great thing to have. Anybody that's living alone that's a senior could benefit from it. So what we try to do is have some kind of plan in place so that in the event that something happens, and usually what we find is one spouse is taking care of the other, and then something happens to the healthier spouse. And that's when you want to have something in place so that, we have situations where people don't know bank accounts, insurance companies, long-term care policy companies, and all of a sudden the healthier person that was taking care of all this isn't able to. Now what do you do? So you want to start by gathering all of that information, and there are some planning books that we have that we can get to the Council on Aging that will walk you through the different things that you need and put it all in one place so that you're not scrambling around. Simple things like even just getting signed onto bank accounts doesn't mean that you're giving your money to somebody else. It's just another family member is able to write checks in case you aren't able to. We literally get people that are stuck because they have to wait through the court system to get things done so that they can go get money out of the bank. And it's so simple to get somebody to sign on your bank account. It's a little card that they give you at the bank. You just put them on. It just gives them the right to write a check. So generally, like Christine said, start with the real basics: bank accounts, insurance companies, doctors, and specialists' phone numbers. Because a lot of times, you have children out of state. They don't know who your doctors are, and now all of a sudden they have to figure it out. So it's easy if there's a plan in place, and that's what Christine and I work with families on.
And then just in addition, when we're talking about, having care at home, we can have a home care company come in. It's a home modification company where they do a free evaluation and kind of check your home to see if you need, more supports in place to stay at home safely. Checking to see if rugs are nailed down and grab bars in the shower, that type of thing. You want to have someone evaluate, is it safe to be home, especially if your loved one has a walker or wheelchair, things like that. So that's part of sort of putting things in place at home. We always ask people what they want. We don't necessarily steer someone towards an assisted living. It's about their choices. And, I think we all choose to be at home first. So how do we make that safe? And then there's additional programs, like the Meals on Wheels, getting that in place. So there's a lot of other options. As far as assisted living, it runs the gamut. You can be many times independent at an assisted living. You don't always need to go in because you need care. You can be choosing the place that you want to live at. It can be very social, can be very enjoyable to have 3 meals a day where you're waited on and served. We also have memory care options. We work with residential care homes. There's a big difference between a social model and a medical model where you might need skilled care. That's something that we go over. So we kind of explain the differences between, what's what am I looking at? What's a continuing care environment? That type of thing. It's a lot of different names and a lot of different care levels that go into the environment. And then I think one of the other things that I think is important to remember is that if you decide that you do want to try an assisted living facility down the road, we have a lot of people that do a temporary stay, a respite stay, sort of a try before you buy. These are rent by month locations. So trying 30 days or 60 days, it's really hard to just kind of move into a place. You kind of want to feel it out. Will I like this? Do I see my people? Do I like the activities? Are the care levels there that maybe I need now or down the road? What does it look like from a financial perspective? So those are things that we go over with you as well. And then I think, lastly, some things that we, want people to know that we want to provide resources. It sort of takes a village. We talked about the Council on Aging, of course, and the elder care agencies like HESCO, and then there's elder law attorneys, there's financial planners, there's veterans agents to go over your veterans benefits. There's real estate agents if you need to sell a home, move managers, personal organizers, which is something I just didn't realize was so valuable out there. So these are just a lot of the resources that we want to make sure that we're providing you as we work with all these other agencies as a team to help navigate your care. So it's kind of everything we wanted to talk about in a nutshell, but I didn't know if anybody had some questions that they wanted to ask us while we're still on the line.
Any specific questions they want to ask? You can either go into the chat box.
Christine?
Yes.
Christine, can I ask you, can you get me some of those organizers sent to me?
Mm-hmm.
Those early organizers and planners, I would love that.
Okay, sure.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, I really, I love what you were saying about making a plan for now and making one for later. I think, making a senior living move into any type of assisted living or facility, I know it's often under a crisis situation, and ideally it's nice to be able to make those choices But, it's nice that people aren't afraid. They don't need to come to you when it's that crisis time. They can come and see
Right.
what kind of support exists now and then in the future. I was wondering, what have you, I know that virtual tours is out there, but since COVID, what has changed other than that? How have you been working with families that are looking for a senior living facility?
I think both Dave and I could talk to this, but it's, every single assisted living has their protocols in place, and they're listed on the front screen about what they're doing and how they're doing it, and how, many of the assisted livings that did come across COVID was early on, March and April, and most of them have done just an excellent job of sort of securing their facility and keeping it out, which is wonderful. If you were to go in, inside, they're taking your temperature, you're using hand sanitizer, you have a mask. If they are allowing tours in person, they limit the people, so it might be 1 or 2 people, that's it. Usually they're making the tours a little bit less in time. It's more of a sort of a 30-minute tour. They're trying to get their conversations in with the families, through a virtual, conversation, through Zoom or something like that ahead of time. Some are doing porch tours, they're calling it, so you get to meet people in person, socially distant, masks on, and they will show you around the building, and you're kind of peeking in to see the dining area and the activities room and that type of thing. And then they have an iPad where they're kind of saying, okay, so this is what it looks like, or this is what the floor plan looks like. I don't know if Dave wants to jump in and add.
I was referred a gentleman from the Bridgewater Council on Aging, and he called me himself. He's having memory issues and he knows it. So I met him a couple times on his porch, and we sat a picnic table's length away from each other with masks on. And I met him a couple times, and places were doing in-person tours. So I took him. His family works during the day, and they weren't able to do it. So he sat in the back seat with his mask on, and I sat in the front seat with mine, and I took him to a couple of assisted livings, and he's made a choice on one that he's going to move into. And he just doesn't want to be alone. He's the most social guy in the world. He was a salesman for 50 years. And he's got nobody to talk to. His wife passed away about 10 years ago. And because of COVID, he used to go for lunch at the council, and then help them clean up and do all that. And then he also had his own coffee groups that he used to go to at the local Cumberland Farms he went to. And they can't do it anymore. They're not letting him sit and have coffee with his buddies. And he can't go to the council for lunch. And he's lonely. And he's like, I want to. So the best is you go in, and everybody always wants to see the biggest rooms and the biggest this, and he's like, oh, I'm not going to be in my room. He's like, I'm going to be out here where everybody else is. So I'll take the smallest room you got. So
Yeah. I think it's a lot of fun when we actually have senior clients call us directly, right? And we get to the heart of what they're looking for and what's important, and I feel like those are sort of our quickest conversations, because we're talking directly, to the person who, they're pretty aware of what their choices are.
That's what I always think of when I think of you and what you do. When somebody is looking to make that move, I love the fact that, there are just so many assisted livings out there, and each one is, so different. Same but different, and to narrow it down for people and to help them to ultimately have that small list to go look at in person.
We really do like getting involved. People want to be at home, and so we want them to be at home up until the point where it's not safe. That's what you want to avoid. Is A lot of times we have, like you said, it's a crisis that happens. It's an injury. People end up in a rehab, and that's when they reach out to us. So a lot of times at that point they'll say, we want to try to do this at home. And we will put a plan in place the best that we can. A lot of times we try to get the thought across that, okay, we know what this incident is. We don't know what the next one's going to be. So let's do everything in our power to not have another incident, right? So that you have a choice of what happens and where you go. If you get injured enough that you need skilled nursing, your choices are severely limited as to where you can go. People, we like to get them out there and see some things and just have a thought. I'd say Christine makes a path, but the path is gonna move a little bit as time goes on. It's not gonna stay the same path, but at least you have a path.
Right. So I just wonder, are there any more questions that anybody has? Because I don't want to go over, our time limit here. So.
Oh, I see Gloria trying to talk. I need you to unmute, Gloria. Can you see the mute button, Gloria? There you go.
Hi,
There you
Gloria.
go.
I'm learning.
You're doing great.
I'm learning. Oh gosh. No, but it's just kind of comical that I had this discussion with two of my grown daughters who happen to live with me right now, and it's really been great. I mean, I can take care of myself, but it's good that they're coming and going. They're not here all the time naturally. But I've looked at a few places like places that you would, buy and have your own apartment and all that. And I don't know, I've made a decision, I think, that I want to stay in my house. And, I think I can do this, and right now, at least I can do it, but it's kind of comical because my daughters are like, there's different things that I'm not to do, right? And I'm like, damn it, I'm 78 years old. This is my house, But anyway, I've gone down the cellar a couple of times, and there's really nothing I need down there. I mean, I just went down for something, I don't know, and then they found out because my cellar stairs are solid, but the railing is only on one side, and it's not great. And I don't feel awfully comfortable doing it, so it was foolish, right? So when my daughters found out that I went down, they said, we don't want you going down there. We just don't want you going down the cellar. We don't want to find you at the bottom of the stairs. So I said, okay, I won't do it. They said, Mom, we're not kidding. If you go down the cellar again, we're going to put a lock on the door. Kind of all howled, but they're right. I mean, I've known people that have ended up at the bottom of the cellar stairs, So I'm doing okay. I'm getting, I am getting forgetful, and I know, and they know. But I'm hanging in there. I really miss the senior center. I just love going down there, as everybody does.
We missed you too, Gloria.
Mm.
What I think is great, Gloria, too, is that you're having a conversation, right? It just starts with a conversation, right?
I know.
Right,
And
just
I
letting them
lost-
know what your wishes are is huge.
Yeah, they do, and we sat down and talked about it. I said, I really want to stay in my home, and I want to die in my home if I could. I don't want to go to a nursing home. When I lost my husband, it'll be 2 years next month, I went to the lawyer and I changed everything, because you have to, your power of attorney and all that. He was my power of attorney. It's not going to do me any good and all that. So I did all that. So that part's good. So they know what everything is, and so I think we're at a good place right now. And I just hope I can stay home.
You're doing the right thing. You're talking about it.
Right.
We get phone calls all the time, or I do, not as much as Christine, but my mom has a bump on her forehead, and she doesn't remember how it happened. Can you check the Lifeline and see if she used it. So, because they don't have conversations, you know, but you're having conversations. So you're doing it the right way. You start thinking, you start planning, and then if the goal is to stay at home, I mean, you can have a mobility company come over and put new railings in and grab bars. If your laundry is downstairs, then you kind of have to go down and do laundry. No, so yeah, declutter and whatever's down there that you need, get it upstairs somewhere.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything down there I need at this point. And we have a stair lift. I don't use it now because I like to exercise with but we had to put it in a few years ago for my husband, or he couldn't come home from the hospital. So I just left it there, you know, so it's in place, and so that will be a help. Yeah. What's the telephone thing showing?
Hi.
The green sign with like a telephone thing in front of, in it.
Yeah, so we have a couple of people who called in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it looks like somebody might have a question on one of the telephone numbers.
I have a question.
Yes.
A couple of things. I know, like, my brother's been in a nursing home. My name's Dorothy, and this is more for Dave, but anyone. But I know he's been in them for like, I don't know, 7 years probably. And a couple of years older than me, 69. And so, you know, we got the COVID-19, and because he had asthma, bronchitis, all this, and he got some short-term memory loss. That's why I was interested when you said your friend there had some memory loss, although he's still independent. He's not in a nursing home or anything, and he had coffee hours and all that. So I was interested because, you know, when I talked to him, when he did have a short-term memory loss, thank God it did come back. I know he kind of snapped out of it when I said, Joey, I love you, you know, and that just snapped him out, you know, when I said that to him, and he was normal again. But, you know, he did have it for a little while. And so I want to know how to recognize it, like, you know, because you recognized it in your friend. You know, I only recognized it at this COVID-19 because he never had it before, ever. So I'm wondering if there's, you know, symptoms of it. And also, the other question I had, when I was looking for, before he went in the nursing home, I was looking for assisted living for him, thinking maybe that was better. And they were very expensive. Very, very expensive. And, you know, they told me, well, does he have a house? I mean, you know, because we're going to take it, you know, I mean, you know, we're going to need like, you know, money, a lot of money every month, you know, unless you get some kind of policy or something, possibly you might have something. So that was another thing I didn't know if you wanted to discuss, because, you know, some people, you know, what coverage is really coverage assisted living? Do you know what I mean? Because I called numerous ones and they said, we're really, you know, we're going to either take the house, or people have had, you know, money saved in the bank for this issue. They know eventually it's going to happen. And we've had people just, you know, I mean, they've just been drained out. I said, well, what happens when they drain out? And they said, well, you know, they get first choice sometimes on if we have something to, you know, policy or something that maybe they can afford that comes up or something. But assisted living was very tough. That's why I know he stayed in a nursing home. It was very tough to get him in that situation with you know, the income. So I know you didn't really discuss the financial end of that, but it's like, you know, a lot of money per month. I don't know how much they quoted, but thousands a month.
Thanks, Dorothy. So if you want to, either one of you want to speak to that.
Let me take that for a second.
Okay. Sure.
Well, there's a couple of things. It's also if the house is in his name and he's on the deed, or if it's in a trust, is it a revocable trust, an irrevocable trust? There's a lot of things there. The thing with the nursing homes is if you have assets, nursing homes are going to take your money 2 to 3 times as fast as an assisted living. To get onto the Medicaid program, you have to be down to $2,000 in assets. So a lot of times people stretch out their dollars by going to an assisted living because, you know, say you're in an assisted living at $5,000 or $6,000 a month. Yeah, it's a big number. But a nursing home is going to be $15,000 a month until you run out of money, and then you can get onto the Medicaid program. So That's
But they told me, Dave, Medicaid doesn't cover assisted living. I asked them that. They said no.
It doesn't. I mean, there are some programs out there. There are some PACE programs. There are some group adult foster care programs, and we work with families to find that. But if you have assets, you can't get on Medicaid anyway. So if you're going to a nursing home, you have to be out of assets to get Medicaid to pay for it. So I don't want to, this is a public forum that's being taped, so I don't really want to ask you too much, but
Right, we can, Dorothy, I can get you their phone number, which I will take the contact information and I'll put it in my e-news on Friday as well for people who weren't able to join us today on this program. And this tape program will also be available, but any type of personal questions like that would be best offline. Does anyone else
No,
have-
that's okay. You know what it was? He's all set now, so I don't really need the information right now. But I kind of wanted people to be aware because there's 13 or 16 of us in this right now. So I wanted to kind of bring that up. You know that it was very difficult on my end before he wound up in a nursing home. That we looked at assisted living and during that time, and it was very expensive. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up to the public. I don't know if they were aware of it or not. So, and the other thing, Dave, I did really was interested in short-term memory. Or when you mentioned your friend had that, what are some of the tell signs? Because I only saw this in him, the one time when he got COVID-19. It was very frightening. So what are some of the tell signs?
So there were some really basic things. If you notice that they have memories of things from 30 years ago, but don't remember that they talked to you on the phone, is an indicator that their long-term memory is still there. The short-term is fading.
Say that again. Like, in other words, if he talked to me, he remembers things from 30 years ago. Go ahead, and then he didn't remember talking to me on the phone. You mean?
Yeah, I didn't remember talking to you, the day before.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Oh, I get it now. All right.
Things like,
and that would affect what? You said the long term or the short term? The short term, right?
Short-term memory loss.
Short term, because he didn't remember that. All right. So if these things start coming up, because they haven't since, but I mean, I did get that feeling for a short period of time. The nurse told me that it's from COVID-19. And anything else? Any other tell signs?
Yeah. Misplacing items, losing items, old food, not being thrown away, unkept. If their hygiene changes, if normally, he kept himself pretty neat and trim, and now all of a sudden he's not getting his hair cut, he's not trimming his nails, are all signs of short-term memory loss.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Does anyone else have any other questions? I want to be respectful of Christine and Dave's time. Anything? Okay. Well, thank you so much. Christine, do you want to just give your phone number? Oh, I can hear you, Larry. Do you have a question? Oh, he's going in and out.
No, I just wanted to have time to eat also. Sometimes they forget to eat.
Oh,
yeah.
They don't
Or they eat twice because they forget that they ate. So we get them both ways. They forget to.
Right.
Some people forget to eat, and some people forgot that they had eaten.
I hope I forget to eat.
That's funny.
That's funny. Do you want to let everybody know your phone number in case anyone wants to reach out?
I can type it in the chat box if anybody.
I hope.
For the recording, if you want to just say it out loud as well.
Okay, you can reach either one of us at 617-694-3053. And there's an extension for me and an extension for Christine.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you again, both of you, David and Christine. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Nice.
Thanks very much.
everyone.